Whoops! The jig is up! Scramble! Well, not very smart, these kids. Oh no! She's gonna go get a rock and bash everyone's head in. No! A pitchfork! Hey folks, Jacob here, and I am ready to offer my weebservations on episode 70. 70, can you believe it? Of Attack on Titan, the final season, Deceiver. Now, it's actually been a pretty long time since, I guess it's been a whole 4 episodes since I last checked in with Attack on Titan. You can see those reaction reviews here. So I'm going to have a lot to say about what has happened in the episodes since. So if you want to just jump straight to the reaction, here's this time code here. If you want to skip my babble about all of the, I guess, like, these were slowdown episodes, so that was a lot of history and exposition that we were given, and I never really felt the need to cover those on camera, except for the episode, obviously, I guess the interruption to this otherwise cool-down state of the show where Sasha dies. And the reason I didn't do that episode is because someone spoiled it for me. I've really been good at avoiding Attack on Titan spoilers, but unfortunately someone did tell me Sasha dies. And I tried to film the episode anyway, at the beginning saying, hey, I know this, but I only know 2 words about it. I don't know the how, the why, the context, so maybe it's not that bad. But then when I went to film the episode, fully 10 minutes are... I'm not gonna say it was useless, because I knew it was gonna happen, but it was more useless than I thought. Sasha gets shot halfway through the episode, and it was, you know, there was no shock on my face or anything, because someone had ruined it for me, and it was easy to tell how it was going to happen once you knew, because the title of the episode is Assassin's Bullet. Gabi has been carrying a rifle around very angrily for 2 episodes. Up to that point, it wasn't hard to put 2 and 2 together. So I scrapped that video, and then a lot has happened since then, so we're just going to get into it. The biggest thing amid all of the exposition and the history that we've been given that has struck me is that Eren, I think, has fundamentally changed as a person, besides the obvious, since inheriting the Tiber family's memories. I think there's something that he learned from the Warhammer Titan that probably has impacted how he sees his plans going forward. And it might be the same thing that Zeke knows from his Beast Titan. Obviously, he has some secret about the origin of the... I don't know. All of that is going to form the root of whatever the way forward is for these characters now, because they have basically ruined their chances for any kind of global diplomacy because of what Eren has done. And now he's been court-martialed for it, but it's almost like a joke. I think as he yells at Hanji, like, you can't actually keep me here, so what do you want me to do? I'm literally only in here because I am thinking about my next move. It's just a bad situation for everybody involved. And at this point, it doesn't even matter if Eren and Zeke are on the same page. Because when we found out that Zeke was playing triple agent, I guess, and that he's fighting not for Marley or for Paradis, but for his own unique plan of restoring Eldians to a place of respect in the world. Like, I have no idea. Threatening people with world destruction is not really the way. And now Eren's closest allies, his Nakama, his friends that he forged bonds with in wartime, are starting to turn on him because his quest for glory and for an easy solution, whatever small part it played in Zeke's plan for, like, oh, this is the sacrifice that we need to make. Even if they were okay with the genocide, and some characters like Jean and John and Flock seemed to be all right with it because they were celebrating on board the blimp as they hurried away from the millions of lives they destroyed. Even if they were okay with it, they cannot get over the loss of Sasha. And so Sasha's death is more important, not because we lost the character. I thought it was kind of crummy the way that she went down. I know that 90% of Sasha's character is loving food. I know that's 90% of it, but I feel like after she got shot in the gut and she's bleeding out, I feel like there is more to her character. I feel like she would have said something, I don't know, to her friends or about her dad, or I do feel like she would have had more presence of mind to make her last words not just like, when is the food coming? Sasha had like a little more depth than that, and I wasn't crazy about the way that she went out on her terms anyway. I felt like she could have given more, but I did approve of how it went down from the story's perspective, from Gabi's perspective, because Yeah, Gabi's like Eren, and they needed to be, Eren's side needed to be reminded that there's a price to pay for committing horrifying genocide, even by proxy. Like, you don't celebrate over that. You don't go like, well, at least we got our skin out of the game, you know, whoops, more people had to die because we had to go save Eren. Well, not this time. Maybe now somebody that you really cared about, who is responsible for the death of people that Gabi cares about, is dead because of this. How about that? And I sound like I'm chiding these characters, but of course I'm not. It's unfair all around, and I think really the person to blame is Eren, and now that his closest friends, even Mikasa, doesn't really have a strong argument against trying to rein Eren in some way, but like, what can they do? Is he too powerful? Like, have we gone past the point where we can consider replacing him? It's awful, and I hope that the answer to this is a character who spoke to Eren on terms that only he could understand years and years ago, Annie. I hope that Annie has an interesting part to play in the story coming up, and I'm really excited because I've been waiting for her to get out of that like glass prison for a really long time, and I want to see Annie come to terms with what Eren has become and how much it resembles where she was at several years ago. I don't know, lots of exciting character interactions that I'm waiting to happen, and I know aren't going to happen yet because this next episode is about Gabi and Falco. Two characters that I've grown to care about a lot. I would say just as much as the core team, Armin and Eren and Levi on the other side. It's a lot, to tell you the truth. Attack on Titan has been a lot, in good ways, in bad ways. Always interesting, though. I cannot ding it for ambition in any way. Go hard or go home. So, with all that said, episode 70, here we go. Let's see what secrets we can uncover in the dark, dark depths of this horrible world. Episode 70, Deceiver. Let's go. Of course he's a member of the garrison. This guy... What kind of fucking training have you had, man? That's a Oh! Yeah, Gabi. She is like Eren. You just can't stop her from killing people. Stop killing everybody you meet. Jesus, this girl. Falco's got some weird taste in women, man. It's interesting to me that, yeah, she's still wearing that armband. At this point, I imagine it's a point of pride for her, yeah. She's really fighting hard not to take this off. I'm thinking this is a personal thing for her. Yeah, okay, so this is psychologically very interesting because in her homeland, that thing is bad. It means negative things, it means nothing. It means such negative things to anybody who sees that it lives in our world that you probably shouldn't write a story with armbands in it like that, but he did, so that we get to deal with it. So it's interesting, however, that she's protective of it, and now that she's in a completely different country where it means nothing, because now it means something different. It means I'm an Eldian who grew up in this other country, and that in itself is important to me, and I don't want to lose that. It's really interesting. Gabi, like, I don't know, it's like if Eren... Oh, God, stop killing everybody that you meet! Gabi's... if Falco is, like, the part of Eren that, like, wanted to be a hero and wanted to, like, then Gabi is the part of Eren that, like, it's just kind of the way he was, just wanting to start fights and kill people and, like, take what's his, so to speak. It's interesting that both of these characters are reflective of Eren in different ways. And I'm pretty sure that's intentional. Like, I can't really compare either of them to anybody else, besides Reiner, obviously, for Falco. But Reiner is also similar to Eren. I don't know, it's interesting. Her face! She's so traumatized, bless her heart. It's a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, as we might say in my home country. Maybe that sounds like something that they would put in the dub for Sasha to say. Rip Sasha. Alright, so I approve of... So I was worried when I learned about these, like, Japanese Hizurian characters, I guess. Because I thought, like, oh, they're friends with Tiber, and initially Tiber was sort of framed as like a sympathetic-ish figure, but then he fully the way that the story is being told, Willie Tiber is sort of punished for hating himself, for like hating his Eldian blood and kind of turning against, I don't know, whatever. And I was like, oh, so maybe these Izuru people are not to be trusted. And yes, I was pleasantly surprised. Not that Mikasa is a lost secret princess, which is stupid. I get her being like, oh, you're like the last Asian-blooded person in Paradis. That's interesting. And you're part of this long line of warriors that also includes Levi. That's interesting. But the fact that she's also of royal blood, I thought was dumb. However, I approve of it being used as a tool for Izuru to come in and, like, monopolize resources. They're like, well, you'll give us to her as our princess, and she'll be a figurehead, which gives you power in our country, but really it gives us the opportunity to, like, suck all of the resources out of your country. I don't know. It was more layered than I expected, so I approve of that. I've been completely ignoring this scene. Alright, so they're trying to decide what to do with Eren Yeager, and this whole, like, liberated information is now open to the people thing that they went through in the coup arc. They're now having to roll back, basically having to roll back their democratic, very mild democratic ambitions in the military coup arc, and withhold information from the press about what has happened. Even so, that on a national level, Eren. Oh, of course, Flock is the one who's like, let Eren out of prison. Anytime Flock says anything, it's a bad sign. God, he has dickhead hair, doesn't he? I just meant that because of his personality, but his head looks like a penis, and it's really fitting for his character. The new Eldian Empire, bite me. Oh man, this guy sucks. Anyway, so Hanji is in a really bad position here. I don't know what the Survey Corps even does now. Beyond the walls is the entire world. As somebody in the garrison mentioned, I hate it. I hate Flock. I hate him. Somebody mentioned that the garrison is kind of pointless at this point. In other ways, I think the garrison is maybe going to be the most important part of the military, because defense seems like a really good thing right now. But the Survey Corps, at this point, what purpose do they serve? Right? Like, they have to completely reinvent themselves. And also, Hanji is having to deal with all this crap. I feel bad for him. And I fell in love, apparently, because, I was traumatized and/or fell in love and/or consider him the only family I'll ever have. I have a healthy relationship with Eren Yeager, sure. Ah, it's John. What's he doing? I thought he was busy building a railroad somewhere. What's he doing in this scene? Gabi, make friends with John. Make friends with Sean, Gabi. This is probably the best day. Being bitten by a horse, slipping in manure, and having a bucket fall on your head. This is probably the best day she's had since the festival, really. Whoops! The jig is up! Scramble! Well, not very smart, these kids. Oh no! She's gonna go get a rock and bash everyone's head in. No! A pitchfork! Keep the sharp objects away from Gabi! Ugh. Sorry for almost trying to spear you with a pitchfork. Anyway, let's go ride horses and be friends and learn about each other's. We'll have a cultural exchange and avoid all the Sturm und Drang that Eren suffered through the past several years. Oh, jeez. Wait a minute. Wait! Is this the girl? This is the girl that Sasha saved. It took me a second to put the pieces together, but this is the girl that Sasha saved, which means... Oh, that's awkward. Whoopsie doodle. Gabi doesn't even know that yet. And if we're lucky, Kaya, or whatever her name is, won't learn it yet. Anytime soon. Oh. It really comes down to the... Gabi said in a previous episode, she's like, why are they here? And he's like, well, Reiner and a couple other people went and killed hundreds of them, and she's like, did you see it? And he's like, no. Then it didn't fucking happen, you know, like, yeah. Well, yeah, Gabi's now put in the same situation where she's like, you know, your ancestors killed people, hundreds of thousands of people, and it's like, did you see that happen? Yeah, it's, Isayama's, as an artist, he will tell you, he has been very open and jovial about the fact that he's just a little limited when it comes to face shapes and facial expressions. And the Armin is having a disassociative episode face, which is what I associate with that face right there that Kaya is making, is not my favorite. I do think it's a little silly. When the Colossal Titan exploded out of the ocean in a previous episode and Armin made that sorry face, like, oh, I gotta do a bad thing. Like, it killed the vibe a little bit, I gotta admit. I wish in the anime they had changed it up a little bit. What can you do? You're not gonna mess with the manga that is making bazillions of yen in adaptation. You're gonna keep that shit as close to the panels, I think, as you can. Oh snap, now it's ODM gear versus ODM gear. Oh, everybody's gonna be flying and whizzing and shooting and clanging and banging, and oh, it's gonna be very, very bloody. Poor Reiner. Poor Reiner. Why can't they just let him die? Oh, man. This poor sorry son of a bitch. Alright, that was Attack on Titan, the final season, episode 70. And the good news is, I think there's hope for Gabi after all. I was worried that this story was just gonna take Gabi and punt her down the field, especially after killing Sasha and seeing the fervor. I was, you know, at least tertially, like, sort of from a distance aware of the Gabi hatred that flooded the internet after that happened, because of course it did. Like, of course it did. It makes sense. It's just, it sucks, because I really love the character and hope for better from her, because I think her mission, if she really deep down doesn't care about the things that Reiner cared about, which was, you know, status and acceptance and a family that could be reunited by this thing, the heroism that has sort of poisoned Eren at his worst. If she can get away from that and just embrace what I think is her real desire, which is that Eldians be respected in the world and no longer be persecuted in the world. It's a tall ask. Too much for her, certainly, with her very limited knowledge and abilities to do. But if that's really what she wants, I think it's possible that she could join the characters we've known. I'm not going to say Eren, because I don't think it's going to be Eren, but I don't know, maybe. But the characters that we've, you know, started out with, the Attack on Titan main bunch, I think that she could find a future with them and could change as a character and really become dynamic and fascinating. And her relationship with Falco could be really interesting. And I do think that Falco and Eren are probably going to, I don't know, I think they're probably going to butt heads at some point and have a serious reckoning. I think Falco could end up fighting Reiner. All sorts of things could happen. But I'm just glad that there's hope for these characters, because I really do like them. And I'm okay with... I know a lot of people are kind of heartbroken over Eren taking this path, this dark, dark road that he's taken. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Eren crossing that line, that point of no return. And I think it's going to take an army to keep him under control now that he has the power of 4 Titans? At least 3. I was a little overwhelmed by all the conspiracies at first, but honestly, I'm looking forward to where the story goes from here. This last episode has given me a lot of hope, while the last several were really beginning to drag me down. So, you know, maybe Eren's generation was not the one to bring about change. Maybe it is the next generation down. Maybe it is, he's making mistakes that have to be, as his father was making mistakes that have to be corrected with a new perspective, an even broader one, a bigger sky than he could ever have seen. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you especially to my patrons on Patreon. If you pledge $5 over there, you can participate in polls to determine future video topics like this and get your name in the credits. So yeah, but if you can't do that, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to keep this channel going. You are the key to future success on YouTube, and I thank you so much for being by my side and keeping me going through the rough times that we've all been weathering. over these past months and years. Now, in my previous Titan video, I did mention that I was going to be on a quest to find the algorithm baby, and I found not one, but 2 algorithm babies that need to be fed. So, please comment below with what useful items you would like to feed their hive mind, and you may see them in the end card at the end of this video. So, yeah, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, sayonara, bye-bye, everybody.